Welcome back to the Privacy Report. This is the deep dive where we try to cut through the noise and give you the essential knowledge you need for, well, navigating this constantly shifting digital world. Today, we're really digging into digital scams and modern security threats, trying to get you the must-know facts fast.
Yeah, it's moving so quickly, isn't it? Almost impossible to keep up with every single attack vector. So our mission today is pretty straightforward. Give you that shortcut. Help you understand not just what the threats are, but maybe more importantly, how the psychology behind them actually works.
And that psychology piece is just huge because these threats, they're not just annoying anymore, are they? They really prey on our need for speed, for convenience. It's this clever mix of tech and, well, basic human behavior, often trying to trigger immediate panic or urgency.
Exactly that blend. And that's why your defense has to be layered. You know, if you only focus on the tech fixes, you're missing that crucial human element. And that's precisely what the attackers are always aiming for.
Totally agree. And hey, if you find this conversation helpful, please do subscribe to our email newsletter. You can find more deep dives, more resources over at theprivacyreport.net. Okay, so let's unpack this. Maybe start at the beginning with that sort of digital background noise that almost conditions us to click things.
Right. We really have to start with spam. I know most people just think of it as, digital junk mail. But its main job today isn't usually selling you something cheap. It's more like conditioning.
Conditioning. Okay, I like that framing.
Yeah.
How exactly does that work?
Well, think about it. It's this huge volume of unsolicited, often low-effort messages, right? They're constantly testing out their social engineering tactics, seeing what gets a click. And even if we delete 99 out of 100, maybe more, that one time someone clicks a weird link or opens an attachment they shouldn't, boom, they've crossed a kind of psychological barrier. Spam sort of gets us used to seeing and sometimes interacting with stuff we didn't ask for. And that really sets the stage for the much more dangerous attacks.
Ah, okay. So spam is the volume play. It trains us, maybe lowers our guard a bit, makes us less likely to spot red flags over time. But when they actually want something specific, like our passwords or money, they really ramp it up. That's where phishing comes in. If spam is noise, phishing feels more like targeted theft, right? Identity theft, credential harvesting.
That's the key difference, yeah. Phishing is basically online fraud where the scammer pretends to be someone you trust. Could be your bank, maybe a government agency, sometimes even your HR department. The goal is always to trick you into revealing sensitive stuff, and it almost always relies on manipulating that immediate psychological reaction.
And what's the main emotional button they push? Because it feels like almost every phishing attempt I see, no matter if it's email or text, uses the same basic tactic.
It's usually that double whammy, urgency and fear. The messages are designed very specifically to bypass your critical thinking. You know the lines. Your account's going to be closed in 24 hours unless you verify your details.
Yeah.
Or, we detected suspicious activity. Click here right now. The whole point is to make you act fast without stopping to actually check who really sent it.
Right, and this is where it gets really sophisticated because it's not always just some generic email blast sent to millions. The attacks can become incredibly focused, and that's where the real damage can happen. Let's talk about those highly targeted threats, the ones that use, like, actual intelligence gathering.
Yeah, so then we move into spear phishing. Now, unlike those broad phishing campaigns, this is tailored. It's aimed at a specific person, maybe a specific team or organization. The attackers use details they found about you, maybe from your LinkedIn profile, public records, social media. They might mention a project you're actually working on, or use the name of a real colleague. It builds instant credibility. They're weaponizing personal data.
Okay, so spear phishing hits individuals, maybe mid-level folks. What about whaling? That sounds like they're going after the really big fish.
That's exactly it. Whaling is just spear phishing aimed at the top brass. We're talking executives, senior managers, anyone with access to really sensitive company secrets or, major financial controls. These attackers are very motivated. They might spend weeks, even months researching, mapping out internal structures, payment processes, who reports to whom. They're looking for that one opening to steal the keys to the kingdom, essentially.
And while email is still, super common for this stuff, the attackers quickly figured out they could exploit other channels too. Channels where we might have a different sense of trust or authority. Which brings us to Vishing, right? Voice phishing.
Exactly. Vishing takes those same fear and authority tactics but moves them to the phone. And a lot of people, maybe surprisingly, still tend to trust a voice on the phone more than an email. You get pressured to act immediately to avoid some terrible consequence. And that live phone call environment, it really dials up the pressure.
Yeah, and the scenarios are things we hear about all the time. You get a call, sounds like it's from your bank. They say, oh, we've detected fraud on your account. We just need you to verify your POAN and security questions. In the heat of the moment, that could sound pretty convincing.
It really can. Or those calls pretending to be, say, the IRS or some other government agency, demanding immediate payment often through weird methods like gift cards or wire transfers to avoid being arrested right now. And let's not forget the classic Microsoft support scam. Someone calls claiming your computer has a critical virus and they need remote access to fix it. In every case, they're leaning hard on the authority they're projecting and your own underlying fear of losing money, getting in legal trouble, whatever it is.
Then kind of connecting that theme, that manipulation of authority and trust, we absolutely have to talk about business email compromise, or BEC. This feels less about stealing a simple password and more about exploiting internal company trust.
Oh, BEC is absolutely brutal. And often the attackers don't even need to hack anything technical. They just impersonate someone high up the CEO, CFO, maybe a key vendor with an urgent request. Usually sent to someone in accounting or finance. It might be an email that looks like it's from the boss saying, hey, I'm stuck in meetings, need you to urgently wire X amount to this new vendor account. Do it now. The financial losses from BEC can be just staggering. We're talking 6, sometimes 7 figures.
It's also fascinating and kind of scary how quickly scammers adapt.
Yeah.
They meet us wherever we are, which these days is mostly on our phones, and using newer tools, like QR codes.
Oh, absolutely. They follow the eyeballs, follow the clicks. Since we're all basically glued to our phones, smishing, that's phishing via SMS text messages, has just exploded. Texts feel really immediate, don't they? And people often scrutinize them less carefully than emails. So it's easier to get someone to quickly click a bad link or call a scam number from a text.
And the latest twist, leveraging that sort of post-pandemic muscle memory we all have for contactless tech, is Phishing. Tell us about that.
Right. Phishing is QR code phishing. We've all gotten so used to scanning QR codes for everything, haven't we? Menus, payments, parking meters. So attackers are now putting malicious QR codes out in public places, maybe on a poster, a flyer, even stuck over a legitimate code. You scan it thinking it's for one thing, and bam, it redirects your phone's browser straight to a fake login page or tries to install malware. The speed of just scan and go bypasses a lot of our usual mental checks.
Wow. And even beyond these new channels, the classic email deception is getting incredibly sneaky, too. You mentioned clone phishing. That sounds like a real nightmare to detect.
It is. It's extremely tough. So in clone phishing, the attacker gets hold of a real, perfectly legitimate email that you've already received. Let's say a shipping confirmation from Amazon, or maybe an internal company announcement. They copy it exactly same formatting, same sender name, looks right, but they just swap out the legitimate links or attachments for malicious ones. Because the email itself looks familiar and expected, you're way less likely to hover over that link or scrutinize the attachment.
And finally, since we spend so much time there, we should probably touch on social media threats, too.
Yeah, social media is still a huge playground for scammers. The scams there often involve things like fake profiles, maybe malicious direct messages, or hacked accounts sending out bad links. If you suddenly get a message from an old friend you haven't heard from in 10 years asking for money, or you see a profile that just seems slightly off, they're trying to leverage that existing social trust to get you to lower your guard.
Okay, so we've laid out a pretty scary landscape of threats, from the background noise of spam right up to the really precise, high-stakes stuff like whaling and BEC. So what do we actually do about it? It seems clear that defense isn't just one thing. It's a mix of human awareness and using the right technology. Let's start with the human side, that need for skepticism.
Absolutely. Awareness really is your number one defense. And skepticism is step 1. You basically have to treat every unsolicited message, email, text, phone call, whatever, as potentially suspicious. Just assume it might be bad until proven otherwise. Never, ever click links or open attachments from senders you don't know. And even if you do know the sender, if the message feels weird or unexpected or just slightly off, hesitate.
And probably the most crucial single action, the sort of golden rule here, is always verify through a different channel, right?
Precisely. That's the key. If you get an urgent text from your bank or an email from your CEO asking for an unusual wire transfer, Do not reply directly. Don't click the links in the message. Don't call the phone number they provide. You absolutely must verify the request independently. Go find the official contact information yourself. Call the number on the back of your actual debit card. Type the company's official website URL directly into your browser. Go through a known, trusted channel.
Okay, so be skeptical, verify independently. Beyond that, we need to sharpen our inspection skills, right? Become little digital detectives.
You really do. It's about building habits. One crucial habit: always hover your mouse cursor over any link before you click it. Look in the bottom corner of your browser window. It'll show you the actual web address it's going to take you to. If the link text says yourbank.com, but the URL that pops up is something weird like yourbanksecurity-update.info, red flag. You've likely spotted a phish. Also, get religious about checking the sender's actual email address. Look for tiny, subtle differences, maybe a letter swap for a number or an extra hyphen somewhere.
Okay, those are great human layer tips.
Yeah.
Now let's shift to the tech shields. We can't just rely on our eyes and skepticism alone. We need technology providing defense in depth.
That's right. You need multiple layers of protection. So, yes, the standard stuff. Good spam filters, reliable antivirus or anti-malware software, those are baseline. But for folks looking to really level up their defense, especially against phishing, you should seriously consider network-wide DNS-based blocking tools. Things like Pi-hole if you're technically inclined, or services like NextDNS.
Okay, explain that a bit more. Why are those DNS tools considered a higher level of defense than just, say, standard antivirus?
Because they operate at a different stage. They work at the network level before your device even tries to connect to the potentially malicious site. So let's say a really clever phishing email gets past your spam filter and you accidentally click the bad link. A DNS blocker checks the destination address against massive, constantly updated blacklists of known malicious domains, phishing sites, command and control servers. If it finds a match, it just cuts off the connection before that dangerous website even gets a chance to load in your browser. It's like an extra safety net for your whole home network, not just one device.
Got it. That makes sense. Okay, if we had to pick just one single technological step, like the ultimate backstop that everyone listening should implement right now, what would it be?
Oh, hands down, multi-factor authentication, MFA. Also sometimes called two-factor authentication or 2FA. Enable it everywhere you possibly can, on your email, your bank accounts, your social media, password manager, everywhere it's offered. Think about it. Even if a scammer pulls off the perfect phishing attack, tricks you completely, and steals your username and password, MFA means they still can't log in without that second factor. That might be a code from an app on your phone, a fingerprint scan, a physical security key. It's a massive barrier.
Right. And when we talk about MFA, is it all created equal? Or are some forms better, more secure than others?
That's a great question. No, not all MFA is equally secure. Generally, the strongest forms are authentication apps like Google Authenticator, Authy, or similar ones that generate time-sensitive codes directly on your trusted device. Or even better, physical hardware security keys like a YubiKey, SMS-based MFA, where they text you a PIN. That's definitely better than no MFA, but it's actually considered the weakest common form. Why? Because text messages can potentially be intercepted through sophisticated attacks like SIM swapping. So for your most critical accounts, email, bank, finances, definitely prioritize using an authenticator app, biometrics, or a hardware key if possible.
Okay, that's really important context. And all of this kind of brings us back around to the need for continuous education, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because the scammers are always changing tactics, always evolving. So staying informed and sharing what we learn, that seems like one of the best long-term defenses we have. It's like this ongoing cycle.
It really is. We learn their tricks, they adapt and try something new. We adjust our defenses again. It's constant. But I think by really internalizing how to recognize the manipulation, those telltale signs of induced fear, forced urgency, fake authority, we make ourselves fundamentally harder targets. It raises the cost and effort for them.
That's a really powerful way to summarize it.
Yeah.
Ultimately, staying safe online isn't just about having a strong password, is it? It's about blending that essential human awareness, that healthy skepticism, with practical robot defenses like MFA and maybe those DNS blockers we talked about. It's really about recognizing when someone is trying to manipulate your emotions to get you to act against your own best interests.
Yeah, we covered a lot of ground today, from, the baseline conditioning effect of spam all the way up to those super targeted attacks like whaling and BEC, and the newer twists like smishing and quishing.
Definitely a lot to think about. So before we wrap up, here's maybe a final provocative thought for you, our listener, to mull over this week. How often do you actually pause, even just for 2 seconds, before clicking a link or taking an action when a message hits you with that sudden jolt of fear or urgency? the
Yeah.
tiny pause. That's often the critical moment where you can regain control and make a smarter choice.
Well said.
Yeah.
Stay vigilant out there, everyone.
And that's all the time we have for this deep dive into digital scams. Remember to like and subscribe to the Privacy Report wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks so much for tuning in. And just a quick final note, this deep dive was created with the assistance of AI.